Monday Night Football is back. I'm going to be previewing the first Monday Night Football game of the season between the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings, divisional matchup. Both teams have two young quarterbacks trying to start off their season with a W. This is going to be a really fun matchup. Let's preview it. Starting off with the Bears on their end, you've got their first game as Ben Johnson is your head coach. Be great to see Ben Johnson start off his coaching career with a W. Bears are at home in this one. I think this is an interesting thing I was looking at before starting this preview that I did notice that I think is interesting to talk about. In the primetime slate so far, you've got 3 games and no interceptions so far. Could that be happening tonight? A first interception in the primetime slate. You had no interceptions last night between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert in Friday night's game didn't throw any interceptions, and then Dak and Jalen Hurts Thursday night didn't throw any picks either. It's kind of crazy to think about. 6 quarterbacks, 3 primetime games, no interceptions, but that could change tonight with Jason McCarthy and Caleb Williams. Getting over the injury report, the Bears actually have a couple of banged up players. Defensively, T.J. Edwards, linebacker, is questionable, or is actually doubtful. And then you've got questionable players like cornerbacks, Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson. I'd imagine Jalen Johnson plays, though. And then with the Bears on the offensive side of the ball, Rashawn Johnson, running back, is also questionable in this game. But for the Vikings, they've got some injuries. They've got Harrison Smith out, and they've also, obviously, without Jordan Addison, who's suspended to start the season. And they've got guys on IR like C.J. Ham and Rondell Moore. But they replaced, they lost Rondell Moore preseason week 1. They lost Jordan Addison for the first couple weeks of the season due to his suspension. But they replaced him with, obviously Adam Thielen, bringing Thielen back. And that'll be really interesting in tonight's game, Thielen's first game back. But getting into my predictions, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. I really am looking forward to see what I can see with J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings, but it's a hard thing what J.J. McCarthy's going to do tonight. He's coming back in his first game from a torn meniscus, and it's his first ever NFL game. And not only that, but it's Monday Night Football on the road and against a really solid defense. So with all that going on, that's really hard for someone to do coming back from torn meniscus with, on the road, Monday Night Football, and your first ever start against a good D. So I'm going with the Bears to win this game. I can already see the headlines after end of week 1. Bears win with Ben Johnson and the Lions lose without Ben Johnson. And the funnier thing is those two teams play each other next week. So I can already see the headlines being like the Lions, are great. Or so the Lions are terrible without Ben Johnson. The Bears are great with Ben Johnson. And then it'd be funny, and then you'd see probably the Lions just end up beating the Bears next week when they play week 2 next week in Detroit. But that is it for my preview and my predictions. You guys let me know your thoughts and your predictions for tonight's Bears-Vikings game in the comments.